Man, this is one of those racing debates that never really dies. The kind that splits the paddock right down the middle and has fans arguing all week long. Because after what we just saw at the Indianapolis road course, Louis Foster just lit a match under the whole conversation about cautions, safety calls, and whether race control is actually helping the show or quietly shaping it. And I'm just going to say it straight, when a driver comes out and says throwing a yellow doesn't kill the race, NASCAR does it for fun, yeah, stick with me. Because that line alone tells you everything about where this debate is headed. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. So here's the thing. What sparked all of this was that chaotic moment at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Alexander Rossi is stalled on the front stretch, not hidden, not tucked away, right there on the main straight with cars flying by at roughly 170 miles per hour. And race control? They throw a local yellow, but don't immediately go full course caution. Now Louis Foster, driver for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing number 45 Honda. He's watching this unfold in real time. And his reaction is basically what a lot of drivers are thinking, but don't always say out loud. He said, look, I get why they didn't throw it instantly. Maybe they thought Rossi might refire the car. Maybe they thought it wasn't fully blocked. And Foster even admits he wasn't shocked, but then he drops the key line. Yeah, we probably should have thrown the yellow. And that right there, that's the tension in modern racing. Because drivers are living in this split-second world where one decision from race control changes everything. Strategy, pit stops, track position gone in an instant. Foster even explains something that tells you how quickly teams react now. The moment Rossi stopped, he didn't even pass the car. He boxed immediately. Why? Because everyone knew a caution was coming. It wasn't a question of if, it was when. And that's where this gets really interesting. Because if teams are already reacting to cautions before they happen, are we racing the track anymore? Or are we racing race control? Now stick with me here, because Foster goes even deeper. He brings up safety, and you cannot ignore that part. In fact, he's very clear. Safety is number one. No debate, no gray area. And he's right, you've got cars barreling down on a stalled machine on a live straightaway. One wrong move, one blind overtake attempt, and it's a nightmare scenario. Foster even points out how quickly someone could pop out to pass and suddenly find a stopped car in their line. And if you remember last year at Worldwide Technology Raceway St. Louis, Foster himself lived through this exact kind of chaos. He was slow on the front stretch. Didn't look dangerous from one angle until Josef Newgarden comes through at full speed, hits him, and ends up flipping violently into the wall between pit lane and track. And that moment, that sticks with drivers. That's not something you forget. So when Foster talks about race control needing to be more adamant with cautions, he's not speaking in theory, he's speaking from experience. But here's where it flips again. Because Foster doesn't just say be safer, he also says something that's going to get fans talking for days. It doesn't kill the race to throw the yellow. NASCAR does it for fun. And listen, that's a loaded statement, because what he's really pointing at is this idea that cautions don't just protect drivers, they shape the entire show. And if you watch that IMS road course race, you already saw it happen. Before the caution, it looked like Alex Palou might just check out and disappear into the distance. Clean air, perfect rhythm, game over. But that yellow, that reset changed everything. Suddenly you've got battles brewing. Malukas, Lundgaard, Rahal, all in the mix. Strategy gets scrambled, tire calls matter more, track position becomes a fight again instead of a procession. And Foster is basically saying that's not a bad thing. In fact, he argues the race became better because of it. And this is where NASCAR fans especially are going to perk up, because we've seen this argument forever in stock car racing. Cautions breed drama. Cautions create restarts. Restarts create chaos. Chaos creates highlights. But on the flip side, critics say it can feel artificial, like the race is being constantly reset just to keep things tight. Now IndyCar has actually responded to all of this behind the scenes. They've updated procedures saying pit windows and running order won't factor into whether they throw a full course caution anymore. Instead, it's going to be about the real factors: driver status, where the car is, safety crew access, and how fast traffic is approaching. In other words, they're trying to take the strategy manipulation out of the decision. But here's the catch. Even with new rules, the judgment call is still human. And human decisions in split-second racing moments, that's where controversy lives. And Foster knows it. He's basically saying, if it looks dangerous, don't hesitate. Throw it. Let the chips fall where they may. Because the alternative, waiting too long, can turn a race into something far worse than just less exciting. And I think that's the real debate here. Not just safety versus entertainment, but consistency versus chaos control. Because if cautions are too slow, you get danger. If they're too quick, you get artificial racing. And race control is stuck in the middle trying to satisfy both worlds. So here's the big question I want to throw to you. Should race control be prioritizing pure safety and throwing immediate cautions the second something looks wrong, even if it completely reshapes the race? Or do you agree with the idea that sometimes waiting just a few extra seconds keeps the racing real, even if it raises the risk? Because Louis Foster is basically saying, give us the chaos, give us the restarts, and don't be afraid to influence the race if it means better action. And that is going to divide fans hard. Let me know where you stand in the comments. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, hit subscribe, and stay locked in with NASCAR Nation news for more raw, no-fluff racing talk straight from the fan perspective. Because in racing, the cautions might not just slow the field down, they might be the thing that decides the whole damn story.